moving on. Now we're talking about reliability. Now, reliability is of course checking for truth, right? As you understand, it's checking for truth. When you check for truth, one way you can do it is to cross-refer. Is to check whether the inference matches with another inference found in another source. Therefore, all aspects of your inference must be listed down and must match with one another. Subject, aspect, claim, and most importantly, especially for reliability, the reason. The reason has to be very, very, very clear. And the reason from your main source and your cross-reference source must be the same. You cannot just have similar claims. It's not enough. It's not enough to claim that, because both sources tell me that something is beneficial, hence it's reliable. No, it's not enough. They must match all the way down to the reason, the actual reason. That means the reason why it's beneficial or in what way it's beneficial. Okay, again, very important. When you do your cross-reference, it's not enough just to match the claim. You also have to match the reason, and that will determine whether you can indeed trust the source or whether the source is indeed reliable. Now, in some cases, they will not give you the subject and the aspect. You must figure it out. For example, if they just say how reliable is source A, then please go and find out for me, similar to your comparison, what is the subject you're going to talk about, what is the aspect of the subject you're going to talk about, what exactly is the claim, and finally, most importantly, find out in what way, right? The reason. Okay, case study number 2 is when they give you the subject, right? The Chinese immigrants, but they did not tell you anything else. They just say, how reliable is source A in telling me about the Chinese immigrants? In this case, please go and figure out what aspect of the Chinese immigrants does this reliability question want me to tackle. Then think about the claim, the overarching claim, and then the reason. Okay, in some cases, like I said before, claim and reason can be the same thing, can be one and the same. However, in the case whereby you're talking about positive, negative, right, then the claim will be different from the reason. The claim will be with the positive, negative part. The reason will be the in what way. Okay, so the claim will be the positive or negative, and then the reason will be your in what way exactly. Okay. Now, before you write down the first paragraph of your answer, it is very, very important that you check the other sources first. Okay? Before you write down the first paragraph, write down your claim first that you intend to use. Then check the other sources to see if this exact same claim or counterclaim can be seen in another source. In that way that you will not be wasting your time. Because if you write the first paragraph first before looking at the other sources, you may come to a point whereby none of the sources actually match with the claim that you're making. So therefore, it's very important you get the claim out of the main source first. So get the main source claim first. Okay, and then secondly, you look through other sources. Look through and find matches or contradictions. Okay, but for my recommendation, it's always best to look for matches first, because you just need to keep the same claim and the same reason. Okay, so if you're claiming the sources to be reliable, please ensure that in your cross-reference inference, all of the subject, the aspect, the claim, and the reason of the cross-reference source matches with your main source. Okay, what I mean by this, let me give you an example. Okay, for this question, how reliable is source A in telling me about Chinese immigrants? Subject, Chinese immigrants. Aspect, not given. Claim, not given. So I need to find out what is the aspect, what is the claim, and then what is the reason. Okay, let's look at how this is answered. Source A is reliable in telling me lives. Now this is my aspect. I'm talking about the lives of the Chinese immigrants, who is my subject. And my conclusion, my claim is they are prosperous. That is my claim, right? They are prosperous. But then I still need to give one more thing, which is the reason why they are prosperous. Because when I do reliability, I have to match A, S, C, as well as my R, hard work. So I will check the other sources to see whether I can see that I'm talking about number one, the Chinese immigrants. Then number two, I'm talking about the lives of Chinese immigrants. Number three, I'm talking about them being prosperous. And number four, I'm also talking about whether they are hard work. They are prosperous due to the hard work that they put in. So if I'm going to cross-refer to check reliability, all these four must be present. Let's look at the answer now. Source A is reliable in telling me the lives. Okay. A, the lives. Okay, match the Chinese immigrants. Okay. Okay, match. And then prosperous, match due to their hard work. Okay. So what am I doing here? Because all match, right? I'm simply repeating the point. I'm repeating my main source point again when I write my first line of my cross-reference source. Is reliable in telling me that the lives of Chinese immigrants were prosperous due to the hard work. Then I write the reason. This is going to be the basis of my paragraph as it is supported by source B. Okay, all I need to do is write reliable again and then write the point again. And because the point is the same, I can therefore say that it is thus supported by source B. But however, when you write this, please, you are implying, make sure that the subject, aspect, claim, reason all matches with the main source. That source B also tells me the same thing, that subject, Chinese immigrants, aspect, lives, they were prosperous, and the reason for prosperous is in the hard work. Okay? And please check also. Don't just put the claim there without checking the evidence, because your evidence must imply directly that the reason for their prosperity is down to their hard work. So evidence of source B must also be talking about how they were prosperous due to their hard work. You cannot give me evidence that talks about other things. For example, talking about them being prosperous but due to inheritance or due to the scheming nature that they have. Okay, so your claim must match with your evidence. That is how you give me the correct cross-reference source and the correct cross-reference point and the correct cross-reference explanation. Example number 2. And this is more straightforward. Okay, how reliable is source A in telling me about British rule? Subject, British. Aspect, the rule. Claim, not given. So let's look at the answer. Source A is reliable in telling me British rule. Okay, I keep to the same subject and aspect, which is British rule. Then my claim here, and this is very common, my claim now is beneficial. This is the positive negative thing, right? It's beneficial, but I have not said in what way yet. So I write down at the back, as Singaporeans were able to achieve prosperity. This is the reason. Like I say in reliability, when you write the reliable statement, keep subject, aspect, claim, beneficial, and finally reason, able to achieve prosperity. Then check the other sources first. Make sure I have this exact same subject, aspect, claim, and reason in my cross-reference source. Then I can write down the first line of my cross-reference source. A is reliable in telling me that British rule was beneficial as Singaporeans were able to achieve prosperity, supported by B. Okay, first line, state clearly what I'm doing in the paragraph. Then I'll write my evidence down. Okay, and again, make sure my evidence relates to how British rule was beneficial because Singaporeans were able to achieve prosperity. Again, please make sure you don't write any other reasons for them achieving prosperity, such as them being hardworking. such as British enabling clean and safe streets. Hence, that's why British rule is beneficial. So it doesn't match, right? In order to achieve a successful match in your cross-reference, again, I say subject, aspect, claim, beneficial, not beneficial, and reason, because they were able to get Singaporeans to achieve prosperity. That must be seen in both sources that you cross-refer to. Okay, this is why majority of students do not get a matching criteria and do not and fail their cross-reference, because their subject, aspect, claim, and reason are different. Okay, or they're not referring to the same thing. Therefore, if they're not referring to the same thing, you cannot claim that they are reliable to one another, or that you can trust one over the other, because you only can do that if you are talking about the same subject, aspect, claim, and reason. Okay, and the last video will be inference in your evaluation.